Hey there, it's Jen, and I am back with another layout for using the Studio Calico, what is it called? Adventure Expedition Kit. I love this paper that came in the kit, and it says, "I have learned that to be with those I like is enough," by Walt Whitman. And I wanted to do this page with this photo of my friend CJ. This is when we went on a cruise, and this is in Jamaica. I love this photo. She just looks free, and she's one of my favorite people. I thought it would be fun to use this quote on this page about her, especially with the travel and adventure kind of theme running through this kit. I thought that some of the elements would be nice to go with this. So what my plan is I want to cut around these words and have it overlap the bottom of the photo, and then cut this off and put the rest maybe on white cardstock. I haven't decided yet. So that's my plan, and I'll go ahead and put you on fast forward and talk you through my process.
So I'm starting by trimming off the bottom of that quote because my original plan was to cut around the top part of the quote and to have the bottom part be flat and put it all the way to the bottom of the layout. So here I've cut that out, and I'm trying to see how my photo will fit in with it. And I kind of am noticing that where CJ's standing in the water there fits in nicely between where the L and the D go up on the word learned, the ascenders. And so what I'm going to end up doing is cutting down this photo so that it looks like it's, as you can see right now, it's pushed to the right, and there's a lot of space on the left hand side of it, which really bugs me. And so I will cut the photo down. And what I'm doing now is trying to decide what color to put underneath the quote, because I don't like it pushed all the way to the bottom. And I'm playing around with some of the different elements to see if I want to point to her on the photo somehow. And it's at this point that I decide I kind of want to cut around the bottom of the quote as well. So I just take my fine tip scissors. I have some really fine tip scissors from Close to My Heart that I like to use, micro tip scissors. And then I'm going to trim down my photo. And here you'll see I'm going to trim it down enough so that it looks centered. So I'll trim a little bit more off than I have now because it's not quite right. So I'm happy with that. Although I do wish that the photo went across the entire layout. It was only 10 inches across to begin with. So I would have had to print it again to get it large enough, but I had these professionally printed, and so I didn't want to print it at home. So anyway, I cut it down some more so that it could be more centered, and I'm happier with that. And now I'm trying to decide how I want to add stuff to this. So I like the way the orange brings out the skin tone on my friend, and so the orange works really well here, and orange and blue just go great together. So I'm going to play up those colors kind of. And I'm playing around with some of the chipboard pieces, trying to decide how to use them. This is something I've done a few times now, is where I'll take the card that comes with the kit that's just part of it. It's like the information card, and it has the color scheme printed on it. And it also, you can use the other side of it that says June 2018 in your project life if you wanted to, but I'm using the color scheme as a pop of color on my layout. So I just cut it out. It's a bunch of circles of color, and I'm going to place that towards the top. And now I'm trying to decide how I want to add in some tickets, because I know I want to add some in. So I'm thinking maybe above the photo. I'm trying to decide if this would look cool on craft, and I do like the way the craft looks, but it's a little too much. So I'm going to put some white. And I like the craft because it kind of is like sand, right? So I've got my blue ocean water. I've got my orangey color, which is kind of the same color as her skin, and also it feels sunny. And then I've got the aqua, and I got the sand color. And now what I'm doing is cutting the striped paper to see if I can add a little bit more color in here with maybe some pink and orange. So I cut the stripes down. They're about 1 inch wide. So I cut 1 inch of that aqua colored cardstock that came in the kit, and I'm just going to do 3 strips of color, and they're going to overlap slightly. And I'm playing around with what order I want to put them in. I haven't decided yet, but I do know that I want them to go up and underneath the bottom of the quote. So I'm going to go ahead and stick down my photo and my white cardstock, and I'm just centering my photo. You can see there's an equal amount of distance on the top and the sides. That's how I decided where to put it. And now I am going to slide these colored pattern paper, well, they're not patterned, these colored pieces of these strips of cardstock underneath the photo and the title that quote is the title, really. It's a big one, but I definitely didn't need a title in addition to that, I didn't think. So here I've gone ahead and chosen to go with the orange aqua pink, and I like the way that looks, and I like how that aqua really draws your eye to the ocean color in the photo. Now, I've scrapbooked a similar photo before where I showed the entire photo, so I don't mind covering this one up just a little bit. It's such a gorgeous photo. In fact, I want to print it and put it in my house somewhere. But anyway, I decide to go ahead and take that branding strip that's orange, and I'm going to put it above the photo, and I decide to trim it to the same size as the photo. And so I put it up there, and now I'm going to my sewing machine, and I'm going to stitch on that stripy paper and also on the stripes at the bottom. So I sewed just white thread on the bottom of each one of those strips, and I'm just pulling the threads to the back and securing them with some washi tape, and that gives a nice clean look on the front. Sometimes I leave the edges hanging, but usually I pull them through to the back and secure them down with some washi tape just for a nicer look that won't come undone. So there's that. And I will rough up the edges a little bit after I get this glued down. I decided I wanted to pop up that quote. And so I got some fun foam, and I'm using my Tim Holtz scissors here to just cut that into small pieces that I can glue onto the back. It's actually adhesive backed on one side. You can get it with or without adhesive on it. And so I usually buy the kind that has adhesive on one side, and then I put my own adhesive on the other side. And I'm just cutting it up here to fit it in those spaces, trying to make sure that all of those little ascenders and descenders that are hanging have some stability with the foam. And I'm using a few different colors here. It doesn't really matter what color I use because you're not going to see it, but I'm going to go ahead and just put this all over on the back, and I want it to be nice and sturdy, so I'm using a lot of foam adhesive. And this is a case where if I was using foam adhesive that I bought, like the little squares, this would cost me a fortune. I would have to put a whole package on the back. But here I'm using less than one piece of the, I don't know, it's like 5.5 by 9 or something sheet of foam, and that's comes with like 50 in a package for $5. So it's way inexpensive. It's just very cost effective. So now I went ahead and glued that down, and now I'm going to play around with the embellishment a little bit. So I'm trying to decide where I want to put that stripe of colored circles and how I want to arrange my embellishments. I'm going to put those 2 tickets on the side, and I am just trying to arrange them in a way that looks decent. I decided to have the words that are on that blue ticket come out from behind where the H is in the word that, and I like how that ends up looking. And then I'm thinking about placing some of these strips of word stickers, but they seem just so heavy. They seem very dark. I can't remember if I even leave those on. I think I take them off, but if I do leave them on, I'm surprised at myself because they feel very heavy to me. But maybe I did. No, I'm taking them off. They just felt so heavy. So I'm going to take what I just felt like the bottom needed something. They're just 3 plain stripes of paper. And so I'm going to take my stamps and I'm going to do a few things here. I'm going to use one stamp in the middle of that triangle to stamp so that's not so plain. And I thought about using this Astoria ink, but it's way too light. So I decided to use the Hero Arts Fresh Peach, which I used on another layout that I made with this kit. And I'm stamping Relax and Enjoy. And oh yeah, I do use that. Okay, I pulled out another ink too, but this was the one that worked the best. So Relax and Enjoy, and then that one that says Go, and I'm gonna go ahead and glue those down, and I think I add staples to them as well, just so they had a little extra interest. So I'm putting some adhesive on the back of the strip of circles that has all of the colors of the kit, and adding that. And I'm thinking I like that orange circle, but I will change my mind about it. Oh, so here's where I'm adding some staples. I added gold staples, 2 to each triangle. And now I'm trying to decide about that circle. I didn't like it down next to her, but I don't mind it kind of in between the triangles. I know I need something else up there. Looking back at this, I kind of liked those plus signs, but I'm just struggling a little bit to try to decide what I want to do. I added some more staples to the tickets, and I kind of put it in a weird place, which bugged me, but it's whatever. I'm not going to change it now. So here I bring back that orange circle, and I'm thinking I got to use this, but I don't exactly know what I want, and I'm thinking that the bottom looks kind of plain. And so this is where I'm going to take some ink, and I'm going to stamp on the pink. And I wasn't sure if I wanted to do this, and there wasn't another pink stripe on that patterned paper, which is what I was looking for so I could test it. But I'm going to just test it on this other color and see what it looks like, and see how it looks when I stick it right next to each other. And I think when I stick it next to each other, it's weird because the top part of the phrase, there's spaces in between it, but on the bottom there's not. So I leave a little bit more space between each one, and I just stamp it over and over along that line, and I think that looks fine. It gives it a little bit of something extra, and it dries back so it's pretty subtle, and I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm thinking I'm going to keep that orange phrase there, and I'm just struggling a little bit with the embellishment on this one. I didn't know what I wanted to use. The photo is so gorgeous that I didn't want to, and the title, the quote, that I didn't want to do too much else because I really liked the way that looked. So here I'm trying to decide if I'm going to write directly on the photo with a white pen. I don't know where I'm going to even do my journaling. And so I wrote Jamaica, and I stamped the date right underneath the quote, and I just used a gray pen. That's from LePen. I think it's Marvy that makes that, but it's called a LePen. I'll try to remember to link to it. I'm going to use a little bit of old Studio Calico Mr. Huey's in Splash, and then I don't know if you can really see it, but I did my journaling around the photo. And sometimes when I don't know where to put my journaling, I will incorporate it into the design, and I like the way that looked. I also add a little bit of gold spray mist just to bring in the gold staples, and that is going to complete this one. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you have enjoyed these layouts I've created with the Studio Calico kits this month. They're really fun. I hope that you'll check them out. I'll leave links to everything in the video description if it's available, and thank you so much for watching. Hope to see you again soon.